Good Friday morning, boys and girls and staff. As you know, this is Mrs. Ridgway, and I am here with your morning edition of the Who News. Today is Friday, October 9th, 2020, and it is a great day to be at school or at home because, boys and girls, look at this weather. WSB TV has brought to us a 3-day forecast for the weekend. Starting today on Friday, we are going to have a high of 78 and a low of 65. And if you notice in the box that says Friday, it has a 3 and a 0 and a silly little sign called a percent sign. And what that means is that is the likelihood it is going to rain. 30% is not very high. 30% is less than half of our chances. So with that, boys and girls, if you look at Saturday and Sunday, you see that number getting higher and higher, which means today is an amazing day to get outside and play, whether you're home or at school. Enjoy the beautiful weather because it does look like it's going to be a bit of a rainy weekend. One thing I want to talk to you about this morning is something that your teachers have been teaching you during the month of October, and that is a social emotional standard that we feel is important as leaders at Hollydale. And so if you'll look at this statement as I read it to you, it says, Hollydale heroes will respond. That means that's how you react to diversity or differences by building empathy, respect, and understanding and connection. So that's a lot of words, and a lot of those words are really big words. And so I want to show you a little clip, a video of what that could look like, and then we'll talk about it. Check it out. Boys and girls, this is one of my favorite short films, and I hope you enjoyed it just as much as I did. And I want the teachers to know that this is a short film that I hope you show again and again and again. There's so much that we can talk about in this little film, boys and girls. But remember, we were talking about differences before and how important it is that you value people for who they are. And that means you're going to value people who are different from you. In this situation, the little boy found out that he got a puppy for a present. He was super excited. And I think once he noticed that the puppy was missing a foot, he threw him on the floor. How rude, right? But the puppy reminded me of Pete the Cat. If you've ever read Pete the Cat books, Pete the Cat does not let himself get upset at all. In fact, the puppy was like laying on his back like, oh goodness, what's happening? He sees a ball, right? And so he tries again to play with the boy, and eventually the boy plays with him, right? And I think if we could see the rest of the film, it would show us that the two become really good friends. But I want you to understand that everybody's different. That sweet little puppy was different. He didn't have a foot. He was having to use 3 feet to run and get that ball. But he did it. He did it, boys and girls. And so I just want you to know that it doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter what color you are or what shape you are or what kind of culture you come from or your background. It doesn't matter what kind of clothes you wear. In some cases, we walk on our feet, but some people walk in a wheelchair or use a wheelchair for their whole life, right? So I want you to understand that everybody's different, and that is actually what makes us Hollydale Strong. And when you are leaders, you look at those differences and you think, man, this is beautiful. It's amazing. Because that's actually what makes us so strong, our differences. Together we're better. And so I want you to talk more about that in the month of October. I know you will. And teachers, please feel free to use this short film again. I do have just a couple reminders, boys and girls, before we leave each other for the day. Remember that today we are officially honoring our amazing custodians. So if you see Mr. Tony, Mr. Robert, Mr. Steve in the hallways, please go ahead and give them an air high five or a thumbs up and thank them for keeping us safe. I have 2 questions here that I feel like some of us need to talk about in morning meeting. And so teachers, you can decide, or maybe students, maybe there's one that you think is better. But boys and girls and teachers, this might not even have anything to do with you, but on my heart this morning, I feel like we need to talk about 2 things. And that is, when we begin with the end in mind, we do certain things. We make a plan. We think about where we want to be, and then we make a plan on how we're going to get there. And then as we go, what does Miss Crawford say? We check it off the list, what we've done. So I was thinking this week, when I was helping my daughter with her homework, my daughter writes a list of assignments down that she has to do for her teachers. And when she does that, she's able to remember what she needs to do to turn her work in. And so it's a great plan for Reagan. She checks everything off. And boys and girls, I have to tell you, that girl has straight A's right now. And it is because she's making good habits like that. So teachers, you may want to talk a little bit about that. I do know report cards are coming out very soon, and a lot of students are missing assignments. Boys and girls, that means you haven't finished your work that your teachers asked you to do, and we cannot help you grow your brain if we don't know how you're doing with your work. So please make sure you get that in. My other question is about being a good friend. And so teachers, you can tie that in as you see fit. I hope everyone sharpens the saw this weekend and relaxes so that we can do this all over again next week. And speaking of next week, boys and girls, you are going to see some of our amazing Hollydale heroes on the announcements next week. That's all I'm going to say. You have no idea the stars in the making. You're going to love seeing your friends on the news next week. You're not going to want to miss it. Until then, I hope you have a wonderful day. It is 8 o'clock. Have a great morning meeting, and I'll see you in the halls. Bye-bye.